Hello people, and to people like things. Sometimes, in life, you just have to say, shut up, I have a battle axe! This is the piece of metal we got to work with today. It might look a bit small, but wait till it gets all stretched out and gnarled up and stuff and attached to a handle and maybe with some spikes. Spikes would be cool. Step 1. Whoops. This will be used later, and it is very, very hot. I think I'm going to clean up that edge a bit before I start forging. Yeah, much better. Now, this is going to be the pointed stabby end of the battle axe. This is going to be a bearded section where it just sort of hooks down. And then I'm going to pound in another little curve here to have yet another bearded section. So this will be a double bearded battle axe. This was suggested in the warrior forums of World of Warcraft, so I have to have at least one beard on the axe. And then I'm going to take this and a similar piece of steel and wrap this around the handle and make some old-fashioned bolts with this, well, bolt, and basically rivet it there, and then I might do some additional modifications, but you can kind of see where I'm going here. Let's see if I can actually accomplish it. Now, the first step towards forging your battle axe is to take your Reuben and place it directly on the center of the forge so that it makes a nice crispy crust, and then flip it to the other side so that it does the same. Yeah, it's kind of hard to fit everything in there nowadays. notice I'm hitting it on this side and leaving this side flat. That's causing the whole thing to swoop this way, create that both curve and the point I'm trying to. Just so you know. Now the edge is starting to considerably thicken up right here. This is actually desired on Viking type battle axes, so I'm not going to correct it too much, but just enough so that I can flatten the thing out and so on. I'm not getting the swoop I wanted in that little divot there. I don't know what it's technically called, so I tied this round bar to the anvil with a chain I used to keep the anvil from ringing too loud. Looks neat, like maybe some sort of ancient cursed object that should have never been made and is sealed up for thousands of years. Now that it's got that nice dip, I'm going to try to shape it into the sharp protrusions I've been going for, so here we go. Normally I would clean up the anvil. I want this thing to look like it was forged by orcs in the middle of a volcano. I'll leave it here. It's 80 degrees out, and I have to work next to that. Keep hydrated. Wish that would shut up when I'm recording. That's the basic divot there. The rest can be done by grinding. I'll do that later. Now I gotta get the rest of the points pointy. Especially the one at the end there. Okay, more forging. After a little more forging and a whole lot of grinding, very unsafe grinding I might add, this is what we have. Now to start forging the beards or swoops or whatever you want to call it, and then draw this out, and then I get the beveling, and that's pretty much it. By the way, if you're wondering why I didn't just grind the whole thing out or just didn't forge the whole thing out, that's a lot of material to move, so I had to do a little bit of both to get the exact shape I wanted. So yeah, just thought you might like to know. If not, well then you know anyway. you see I kind of wedge it into this little groove right here. And then I start hammering away at this end here, trying to draw it that way. And then once it gets too thick, I bring it down to the horn of the anvil and then thin it out. That's creating a nice gentle swoop that I'm trying to go for. Trying to get the thing to go down here, but might not. We'll see. Not getting quite the curve I want here, so I'm going to be a bit more aggressive by pounding large divots into there and then smoothing it out, because taking a bit too long the other way. And then I'm going to make the point on here, get all the decorative little bits in. That's basically the final shaping on this thing, aside from the bevel. Sorry about the AC right now. It's really hot out, like 90 degrees, and I'm working next to a 1500 degree forge here, so yeah, it's gonna be running a lot. You can see I kind of got the shape I wanted. I'm going to grind this off right here, this little bump, once I start doing the edge, because that part right there is going to be sharpened. And you can see, stop being blurry. You can see right there I kind of did a little bit of hammer texture, which I'm going to do to the whole thing after I get the tip. But I wanted to do an example instead of mapping everything out with my fingernail like I always do. Also, I am so putting that texture on the spine of a knife at some point in the future. I mean, just look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, you can see what we're going for there. Now I'm going to use the Japanese samurai sword making technique and cut this part off to make a better angle, and then I'm going to bevel it and do a bit more hammer texture all over it, and that's basically it for this part of the project. We'll see what you'll see what comes next. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm kinda running out of saliva, sweat, and tears. I might die. Okay, you can see where I cut it. Right here, and you can basically see where I'm going to put the edge bevels. It's starting to rain kinda bad, and my whole area here is basically conductive metal. So if it starts storming, I'm not going to be able to finish any kind of work today, because, you know, I don't want to die or get horribly injured. Well, you can see it's starting to pick up. I didn't film the cutting of the blade because, well, how many times can you watch someone cut the same dang piece of metal? So yeah, basically all I got to do is forge all the edge bevels and then smooth those out, heat treat it, and then sharpen it, and then the head's done. Then we get to move on to attaching it and making it look gnarly and stuff. Yeah, I'm going in. It's getting a bit bad, and well, yeah, have a look. Yeah. Some people, when they do their bevels, like to do it on the horn of the anvil to make a more aggressive thing, but since I already did the curves, I'm going to do it on here. So, yeah. I got something, yeah. Notice I'm striking away towards the direction I want the bevel to go. Now it's going to start to become lopsided and come this way. That's when I want to hit it on the other side. Any imperfections along the grease will become magnified also, so you're going to want to hammer that every so often. These inwardly curving bevels are tricky. Those I actually like to do on the horn of the anvil. See how weird it gets. Well, smart, I would have made this bevel before curving it this way. Oh well, I'll do that to the other side. Luckily, this bevel isn't that big. Careful not to let your tips get out of control. It'll be very hard to set them back. By the way, I'm beveling the back edge first before I bevel this edge. That way it'll have the curve I want. Hopefully. If not, yay, more grinding. Okay, I'm going to grind out the notch in the blade there, and then I'm going to grind out the rest of the bevels, and well, just watch. Couple things. The battery died on the camera, and started storming, and then my angle grinder died, so that's really not any kind of usable footage, but I can do some sort of a reenactment here. Basically, Griffin! 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 Griffins are pain. And then I tried to fix it several dozen times, and yeah. Farewell, angle grinder. You've served me for going on 5 years now. 3 at the minimum. DeWalt, good brand. Okay, let me show you what I... Gotta remember not to put my fingers on the button. Okay, let me show you what I got here. See, basically I ground all the edge bevels. I did some smoothing on this side, gotta do some smoothing on that side, but my angle grinder died and Now I gotta learn to use the new one, but anyway, you can basically see the basic profile here. I don't know if you can see this, but it gets progressively thicker towards the edge before going into an edge, and the edge is kind of lopsided because, well, as I said, my angle grinder died. But yeah, and before you heat treat this kind of stuff, you want to smooth all your rough grind marks, or they could turn into stress fractures. And once those happen, they could crack the whole axe in half. It's kind of rare, but it happens. Yeah, you can see right here. Gets nice and thick, and then it gets nice and thin, making it sharp. Yeah. So I'm gonna heat treat this later. Right now, I gotta do some fitting work to figure out how to actually attach this to the axe handle. It just never ends. It just never ends. Now, here's the handle I have for it. Nice, huh? Now, considering that I made this thing as one big slab instead of a normal axe head, which has a drift hole for the handle, that goes, you know, it'd go around and wrap around like that. I'm going to have to take, where is it? Yeah. Take strips of this thing and then make things that wrap around and bolt into the blade. It's not going to look cool in Orcish and Warcrafty and all that jazz. I'm gonna do shenanigans, dilly bobs. Yeah. Now, I don't want to shorten this too much, but I have to cut off this thing, because this would be where you would attach the this is for a brush axe, by the way, in case you're wondering. And this is where the blade would slot in, and then you bolt it in here. By the way, if you say that's no way to attach an axe, this is the way some French axes were put together and some English axes, and the way scythes are put together. So don't tell me how to blacksmith. I'm telling you how to blacksmith. If you know more about blacksmithing than me, then go ahead and tell me how to blacksmith. But if you don't, I'm telling you how to blacksmith. Oh, I also got some a lot of noises. I also got some leather, saddle leather. Wrap around the handle, make it, yeah. Sometimes I just don't know what to say, and it's just sad and awkward. I just want you all to appreciate that I moved the table saw out here in my blacksmith shop, out of the garage, because the garage is both very dirty and very dark, and set up a chair and with bricks and a little tripod on it to show you a 10-second clip of me cutting a piece of wood. Interesting little setup we got here. This is my main belt sander, by the way. Use this for all sorts of things. It's a nice little handy thing. Got it secured with some. Now, why sand it instead of just cutting it before sanding it? Because if I cut too much, I'm screwed. I have to buy a new handle. Although this is pretty long, but I want it as long as possible, so I need to just do it subtly instead of quickly and all at once, where I could make a mistake and everything's ruined. Yeah. It just never ends. Just never ends. Dang furnace. Okay, you can see what I did here. I had my grandpa hand sand it because, well, I'm not a woodworker and not the best at hand sanding wood. But, yeah. Now I put a nice notch right here, so when the, I don't know what that piece would be called, band, bolster, whatever, butts up against it, it won't come off the handle. I also did little bumps and all sorts of little wacky stuff, because basically this is the only part of the handle that's going to be visible, and I wanted to look rough hewn. Now, why don't I just make the tools they used to do to make rough hewn timber? Lazy. But yeah. So yeah, you can see right where it ends, where it's going to be wrapped up in leather and cloth tape and stuff. Get a little niche here. I might need to do a few more decorative scratches and stuff on it to make it look more authentic to the game, but yeah. I could just beat it with a stick, but I don't want to crack it. Now I have to, now I'm going to take this big curly thing I never use for anything, and then cut it into segments, form the segments into bands, form the bands around the handle. I'll probably get a second, more sacrificial handle, and then bolt it to the axe. That's gonna be complicated. I took the old chain off my anvil because I decided I'm going to use it as components for the axe. Isn't that gonna look badass? Needs to be oiled up there. Okay, I'm going to take this piece of metal, cut it into strips, wrap the strips around that piece of sacrificial wood that's of the approximate size of the handle, and it should be the correct size, and I'm gonna have to fit it onto the little axe head over there, and should be good. And now it's getting late and it's probably not gonna make good video, but I need to get this thing done, so yeah. I need to make a new cutter soon. I designed this thing to cut the tangs off of knives, but it's a bit small for the stuff I'm doing nowadays. Maybe next video I'll just make a whole set of tools that appear to be missing or have damage. Cutter broke. I should be dread the haphazard smith. Ta-da! First experimental piece. Uh-oh. Did that camera move? If that camera moved, so help me. First experimental piece. And that's the look we're going for. More or less. When making cosplay pieces or functional sculptures like this axe, it's always the little useless bits that end up being the most complicated. But this one turned out pretty well. Looks like Orcs made it. You see, you want the disunion, because that introduces chaos, and that's basically what Orcs are about. In most fictions, even the Warcraft universe, they kind of have this sense of chaotic order. So it seems like they kind of did things haphazardly together, but ended up being functional. Kind of like they've gone through a lot of trial and error. And it's kind of what I'm going for here. See, if this was normal, I would have cut it with an angle grinder, made sure the pieces matched exactly, and then formed them round before I closed them around the object, but this is a bit more the look. I want to close that end up a little, but this is just practice. This could come in here. Roasting all the grease off the chain. Who wants hot links? Capital punishment right there. Now, I know I said I did this to make the ends look rougher as opposed to clean cut like from an angle grinder, but dang, man, that's almost too good. Dang. I don't have that much material, I'll use it anyway, but dang. That's how you know you're good at cutting. Now, I was marking the size on here with this box saw when I realized that if I were to take that much material off, I wouldn't have enough here to make the straps for tying the axe onto the handle. Then I realized, Curlicue! You saved the day, Curlicue, and you've earned your place on the axe. Well done! Getting dust on the mic. It's important to get a tiny little mark going first, by the way, so that you know it's exactly where you want it to be before you actually start doing any kind of aggressive cutting. Otherwise you could end up cutting the wrong spot. Can you see that? no, just a hair off. How you fix that is you heat the side that is a bit too long and a little bit, ooh, screen's getting dark, a little bit into the bend, and then you hit on the long side while holding the short side, and they should fix each other. Theoretically. Doesn't always work. There. Approximately what you do. My forge smells distinctly like maraschino cherries. I have no idea what that means. But the air is permeated with the scent of maraschino cherries. And I'm sure there's a chemical biologist around there who's just screaming, "Run! Run, you fool! Why aren't you running? Run!" But no, I have no idea. Maybe it's those little flowers.